So I want to welcome all of you to a brand new series here on Geekdom 101 entitled The Strongest in Dragon Ball, which is going to focus explicitly on the powers of Dragon Ball's strongest characters at varying points during the run of the series. And so we're going to begin the series by going back and looking at the original source material, the original 42 volumes of the Dragon Ball manga, and we're going to begin this series by having a discussion about the most powerful character in the original 42 volumes of the manga, penned at the hand of Akira Toriyama completely. From 1984 to 1995, we're going to look at Vegito, the Potara fusion of Goku and Vegeta, and I'm going to tell you why he actually may be even stronger than you even thought. Let's get to it. So I want to begin the discussion by talking about Vegito specifically in just the Dragon Ball manga and the Dragon Ball Z anime. Later on in the video, I will be discussing Vegito Blue and the differences between Vegito Blue and Vegito in the original manga and anime. And we have to begin the discussion by really putting focus on the power of the Potara fusion. I think a lot of people underrate just how powerful the Potara fusion is. I still see debates about which fusion is stronger, and it's clearly stated in the manga from the Elder Kai that the Potara fusion is a better fusion, not just because the pre-Dragon Ball Super retcon states that it is, of course, more permanent. It's also a fusion that's given to Goku from the gods themselves. In the Daizenshus, it states that the fusion with Potara is person 1 multiplied by person 2, but I find this extremely hard to believe. I've said this before on previous videos, and I base my beliefs entirely on the performance that Vegito had against Buuhan. I've noticed a lot of Dragon Ball fans have trouble understanding what was really going on in this fight. Basically, when Super Vegito fought Buuhan in the Dragon Ball Z anime, and even in the manga, Vegito could have completely destroyed Majin Buu any single time that he wanted to during the duration of that fight. There is not a single moment in that entire fight where Vegito is even remotely concerned about anything that Buu was hitting him with. Every technique that Buu tried against Super Vegito was an epic failure. Now, in the manga, once Goku and Vegeta successfully were able to fuse, Vegito went right into becoming Super Vegito, which as far as we know is just classic Super Saiyan 1 with a 50 times multiplier. Now, in the anime, there's extra minutes added to the fight where we see base Vegito completely wrecking Buu's life to the point where we even see him punt away a gigantic blast that could have easily destroyed the Earth or even a bigger planet. Vegito just kicks it away like nothing. During the fight, Majin Buu tries every technique that he knows, including an enhanced version of the Super Ghost Kamikaze attack, to which Vegito just smirks and says, well, it's a kid's technique. Vegito wasn't even sweating anything that Buu did, to the point where Buu even turned him into a candy, and Vegito was so powerful and had such control over his body that he was able to negate Majin Buu's magic and actually control himself as a coffee candy. Majin Buu even went so far as to go inside of him through his mouth to liquefy himself and go inside of Vegito, and Vegito still was not even remotely harmed. The only reason why Vegito did not obliterate Buu is because he wanted to get absorbed. He was waiting for Buu to try to absorb him so that he can go inside of Buu and free Goten, Trunks, Gohan, and Piccolo. I don't know why so many people forget this little detail, but that's the whole purpose of them even not killing him. There's even a scene where Vegito takes a piece of Majin Buu and destroys it into nothingness. He literally, it wasn't even like an explosion. He literally vaporized that part of Majin Buu into nothing. And here's another thing that actually goes in line with the Dragon Ball Super retcon. Vegito wasn't even close to even using his maximum power. Now, I'm not a power scaling professional, but I would wager that Vegito may have been using less than even 25% of his power during that fight. Because you have to remember, Vegito could have easily used Super Saiyan 2 or 3. If we saw Gotenks, the fusion of two kids that could only achieve SS1, use SS3 as a fused being, can you imagine how easy it would be for Vegito with a better fusion, with one of the two characters already having achieved SS3 by himself, plus Vegeta, who's really, really powerful during this time. It's just Vegito could have gone SS3, and he is so powerful that it wasn't even necessary for him to even use the form against Buu. And another thing people often forget is that Vegito, having the mind of both Goku and Vegeta, knows all of the techniques that Goku and Vegeta know. The Kamehameha, obviously we saw the Big Bang attack in the series, he can teleport, and yes, Vegito can even do the Kaioken to multiply his power even higher than it could have been, and yet he didn't even need to use it against arguably the strongest villain in Dragon Ball Z. But I think the biggest feat behind the incredible power of Vegito is the scene where Majin Buu, unbelievably angry at the fact that he can't do anything on Vegito, he can't penetrate a single defense on Vegito, he can't touch Vegito, and he thinks Vegito's making fun of him, becomes so enraged that he powers up and begins to literally crack the fourth dimension. He begins to literally rip apart the dimensional fabric. And it's even stated in the episode that if Vegito didn't do something about this, the entire universe could collapse. Do you understand how strong that is? So what does Vegito do? He dashes in there, penetrates through Buu's defenses, and literally Saitama's Buu delivers one punch, one right hand, and that one right hand is enough to completely break Majin Buu's dimensional fabric ripping power up. So what does this mean? We saw Gotenks scream very loud, and we saw Buu, of course, get very angry and rip the dimensional fabric. What could a fully powered Vegito do if he focused his energy and screamed? We're talking about the entire implosion of the universe in many ways, maybe even multiple universes, and I haven't even gotten to Dragon Ball Super yet. But if you remember, as the fight progressed, Majin Buu's regeneration began to fail. Again, another example of just the unfathomable feats that Vegito can do. So really, when you focus on the original series, you know, the pre-GT and the pre-Dragon Ball Super, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball manga, really nobody stood a chance against Vegito. Vegito could have literally owned the entire universe by himself. Again, pre-GT, pre-Battle of Gods, nobody could even match him. But let's talk about Dragon Ball Super. Now, when you combine the training that Goku and Vegeta did for many, many, many years, when you combine that with the new God powers that they achieved in Dragon Ball Super, the Super Saiyan God, which we know for a fact has the ability to cause ripple effects in the universe, and then, of course, Super Saiyan Blue, which is actually more powerful, significantly more powerful, and even though we don't have an actual multiplier about what that transformation is, especially with the Potara fusion in Super, I mean, it's almost damn near impossible to figure out just how strong Vegito Blue actually is. I've spoken to a couple of other power scaling people like Laughingstock Media, and I spoke to Seth the Programmer, and they both pretty much agree with me that Vegito Blue, despite the fact that the Potara fusion does have a handicap now with the Dragon Ball Super retcon to where they only have an hour time limit, but if they use up a lot of power, it will drain that time. And if you remember, in Dragon Ball Super 66, when they fought Merge Zamasu, the fusion was only for a few minutes. And you have to also remember that these guys are fighting at beyond the speed of light. So the fight was actually not as long as it even appeared in the anime based on time. But Dragon Ball has always been kind of wonky with time. I mean, let's not forget the 5 minutes on Namek thing. That's, you know, it's always hard to measure time in Dragon Ball. But nonetheless, you can't take away from the incredible power that Vegito possesses. Not only does he know all of Goku and Vegeta's techniques, now in addition to that, in Super, Goku has began to utilize the Kaioken a lot more. He now knows the Mafuba. Vegeta obviously has been training his ass off for several years in the Room of Spirit and Time. It's highly possible, in fact, I would say very possible, that Vegito Blue could, not even at full power, destroy multiple universes. Now, we see him use the final Kamehameha against Merge Zamasu. One thing everybody has to understand about the incredible power of Merge Zamasu is that he is unquestionably the most powerful villain that the heroes have faced up until this point. And you could even make an argument that he's only second to the Omni King. Now, obviously, we didn't get to see Beerus fight Zamasu or Whis. We didn't get to see any of that, and that would be a very interesting fight to watch. But the fact that this Zamasu was able to not only fuse, get the Potara multiplier, also Goku Black was getting stronger. Also, on top of that, the Super Dragon Balls made him immortal. And when the arc was ending, he actually tried to become one with the Omniverse. Zamasu is the second most powerful character at that point to the Omni King. I mean, you could make an argument with that. Maybe not, maybe so. We may never know. Hey, that rhymes. But Vegito Blue doing his final Kamehameha, the one drawback is that the final Kamehameha significantly drained Goku and Vegeta's, stamina, because it appears like the way it's working in the series is that I feel like Toriyama and Toei are kind of, in a way, I guess, subduing Vegito by putting limitations on the fusion with the Potara retcon to where the final Kamehameha literally drained them of their power. But just because it did that, that does not mean that Vegito Blue couldn't have destroyed multiple universes with how strong he was in Dragon Ball Super. Same thing with, of course, Merged Zamasu. And don't forget that Merged Zamasu survived that final Kamehameha, even though it did a significant amount of damage on him, allowing Trunks to come in there and get the kill at the end of the episode or the end of the arc or whatever. It still hurt him that badly. And we're talking about a multi-dimensional, fourth-dimensional breaking being. I mean, it's just ridiculous how strong this character is. And of course, don't forget Vegito's exclusive techniques. I mentioned the final Kamehameha, the Spirit Sword, which is a great technique. It was good seeing it again. Vegito is, without a doubt, unbelievably strong. But of course, like I said before, the big problem now is that the Potara fusion now has very similar limitations to the Metamor and Finger fusion, because now, if you use too much power, you will become defused. However, I feel like against the vast majority of opponents, especially the non-gods, Vegito wouldn't even need to even use that much power to wipe them away. In fact, to destroy a planet, much less like a solar system, I feel like Vegito wouldn't even have to try that hard to do it. So don't underestimate the power of Vegito. Even with the handicaps, he's still a scary, scary, scary fighter. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a new appreciation for just how strong Vegito is. And in the future, will come back to this series and cover more characters such as Golden Frieza. I'll talk about Buu. And obviously, at some point, I'm going to talk about the gods, the Daishinkan, the Omni King. That's all coming in the future. Let me know what you think. Also, like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. I try to bring you the most accurate and fun Dragon Ball content that I can. Thank you for watching. Talk to you guys later.